Your live interactive Weather Authority coverage will begin shortly. Your live interactive Weather Authority coverage will begin shortly. Your live Weather Authority coverage starts right now.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you guys are all having a good day. We have, yes, once again, very humid conditions across the state. These warm temperatures are continuing, and temperatures right now in the 80s is very humid, but that's not really the story of the day. We are looking at some severe weather down to our south and west. If, areas down towards Boston, just to the north side of Boston, looking at some severe thunderstorm warnings right now, a lot of lightning associated with these storms. And it's not just the thunderstorms, of course. If you've been if you've been watching us over the last couple days, you know that there is a very powerful Hurricane Lee right now in the Atlantic. So there's a lot to talk about. Hope you guys can stick around. Let's get a look outside at Pemaquid Point. Temperature right now, 75 degrees. We are looking at a good amount of clouds, lots of fog down towards Pemaquid Point. Not like this everywhere. Most areas are looking at a mix of sun and clouds. For example, Augusta. Now, any areas that are looking at sunshine, it's only going to help to start fuel some of these thunderstorms, and we are going to see these storms move in over the next hour or two. So let's just get down to the nitty-gritty. You can see we have some showers and thunderstorms on the north side of Boston right now, moving into areas close to Hampton Beach eventually, and then eventually over towards York County. If you're in Portsmouth over the next 45 minutes to an hour, I'd say, you're going to start to see the thunder, the lightning, the heavy rain, the dark clouds, and that is going to move up to the north. Now, it is expected to hold together pretty well for the next couple hours through southern Maine. So if you're in York County, if you're in Portland, you're in Cumberland County, and possibly even over towards southern Oxford County, you could be looking at some pretty strong thunderstorms over the next 2 to 3 hours, maybe even a little bit longer than that. And then also, too, I'm just noticing this over the last 5-6 minutes. There's another thunderstorm developing over along I-91 in Massachusetts, southern Vermont, New Hampshire right now. So we'll see what happens with that one as well. But of course, right now, our attention is pretty much drawn on this cell that is moving into southern New Hampshire. So let's get a closer look to it. And you can see we have some pretty heavy rainfall and, some of those dark reds, pinks, purples indicating very heavy rainfall. But it's not just that. You want your mind to be blown? Take a look at the amount of lightning associated with this thunderstorm right now. Lowell, Massachusetts getting hit really hard with some very heavy rainfall, vivid lightning, and we are looking at some gusty winds with this as well. And over the next couple hours, anybody that does see a storm, and if it does become severe, the best chance for severe storms, I really should just say the main threat with these storms will be damaging wind gusts. So that is something we're going to keep a close eye on. Charlie will be in tonight, who will have the latest on air, and we will continue to track these storms as they move on up to the north and west. Let me take off the lightning, and you can just see there is quite a bit of rainfall with these storms, and these will slowly move on up to the north. Now, I'm going to track this out in a second. Let's get a look at some of the temperatures, because that's also another story. It is very hot out there. It's humid, and temperatures well above where they should be. Dew points are very, very high. We have dew points right now in the low to mid 70s, 74 in Portsmouth, 73 Portland, as well as Sanford. And yeah, this humidity is going to stick around for a little while, but that's also causing heat index values in the lower 90s in some spots. 91 in Augusta, it's 90 in Sanford, what it feels like 93 in Portsmouth. So if you are heading out this afternoon or evening, we'll see partly to mostly cloudy skies, temperatures in the 80s, feeling like the low to mid 90s, but also severe thunderstorms are possible as we head through this afternoon and evening. And you can see the best chance for that will be earlier in the evening. I think anytime after about 4 o'clock, if you're in Portsmouth, areas like York, areas in southern York County, this storm is going to move in, I would say, within the hour, so 4:30 or so, if not even a little earlier than that. And if you're in the Portland area, it could take about 2 to 2.5 hours. And then from there, we'll see how it holds together over the next few hours and continue to track that. So the yellow shading is where the best chance is for some of these severe thunderstorms as we head through this evening, and you can see it's highlighting areas in southern Maine over towards Lewiston, Freiburg, Sanford, areas like that. That's where the best chance will be for some of these thunderstorms. And the main threat with that will be the wind as we head into the afternoon and evening today. So let's track this out. This is what everyone wants to see. You can see during the evening hours, this is 4 o'clock. I'll be brutally honest with you. This is underdoing these storms at 4 o'clock. I think at 4 o'clock, I'll draw it in. We're looking at a storm right around here, and it's going to continue to move on up to the north as we head through the 4, 5, 6 o'clock hours. So Portsmouth, you're likely looking at some rain at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock as well. And then this is going to slowly drift on up to the north as we head through this evening and tonight. So let's track this out. And again, it's not showing much. So it's hard to talk about this computer model because it's not giving us a good depiction of exactly what will happen. But you can see that this storm is moving through during the later evening on this computer model. So what it's doing is it's just a little bit behind on when this storm will move in. So you can kind of just pretend that time frame says 4:30, 5 o'clock. That's when this will kind of move in, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. And then you can see as it heads on up to the north, it is going to weaken through the overnight hours. And I'll talk about the radar one more time in a second before we go for the afternoon. Now, it's not just these thunderstorms that are going to move through. Of course, the other huge story in the weather department is Hurricane Lee. And right now it is a very powerful hurricane, and it is a Category 4. However, it's only 1 mile per hour away from technically being considered a Category 5. So this is a very, very powerful hurricane. It has strengthened enormously over the past, I would say, 24 to 36 hours. And as it slowly drifts on up to the north and west, it is going to very slowly stay a very powerful hurricane. And then it is going to take a very sharp turn up to the north as we head through the middle of next week. I'll be blatantly honest with you. It's too early to talk impacts if we see any at all. However, there's really 2 options that we have with this storm. And this hurricane is slowly going to move on up to the north. You can see this is Wednesday, this is Thursday. And then slowly, once we get to Friday, now we're talking one of 2 options. And I don't want to use hypotheticals here. If I had to guess, I don't think we get a direct hit. I really don't. However, of course, things can change. So please, please, please don't take my word for it right now, as we are still about 8 days away from this storm. But it is likely to either take one of 2 tracks, and that's one track out to sea. And then there's another track that we could see some pretty good impacts from, and that would be as it moves up to the north Friday night into Saturday. Maybe it could hit us. This is later on next weekend. So there's still a lot of questions. Please stay tuned to our forecast. I'll be here all weekend, and I will continue to update you guys on what might happen. But again, you're really going to want to pay attention to the Monday, Tuesday timeframe of next week. I think that's when we'll start getting a better idea as to what exact track that this storm will take. But the honest answer to you is that every computer model that comes out right now, totally different. One shows this, one shows another. So to just say that it's going to hit here is, you just can't do that. It's just the simple truth to it. One thing that is looking pretty likely, however, even if this thing stays out to sea, I think we're going to see some pretty big waves with this storm. And we could be looking at some pretty strong big waves as we head through the afternoon and evening on Friday into next weekend. Hey, I mean, we could see, depending on how big this storm gets and how powerful it is and how close it gets, yeah, we could see pretty big waves, but that's also going to increase the rip current threat as we head into next weekend. So just keep that in mind if you had planned to go to the beach. And, that's something that you need to keep a very close eye on, because I know still people trying to get out there and enjoy a last taste of summer over the next couple weeks. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Again, I'll get back to the radar in a second for anybody just joining me, but here's a look at the 7-day forecast. We do have that weather warning up for this evening and tonight. we're going to see some showers and storms, wind gusts, probably the primary threat, strong wind gusts. Then the weekend right now doesn't look horrible. I think we're going to see the threat for some showers, maybe a thunderstorm during the afternoon and evening tomorrow, but most of the day just looks mainly dry. So that's some good news. However, the humidity is still going to be with us over the next several days. And then this kind of dreary, wet, humid pattern is going to stick around. We had about a week of dry, nice, beautiful weather. And now we're back to reality. We're back to the chance for rain and thunderstorms, but there's not too many days besides maybe Sunday, Monday time frame that look like a complete washout. So that's some good news. Most of the days are like today, for example, mix of sun and clouds most of the day, but then all of a sudden later on in the evening, it could pour. We could see a thunderstorm and maybe a severe thunderstorm as well. Let's get back to the radar really quick before I let you guys go. And you can see we have that thunderstorm right now about to move into York County. So areas in Portsmouth, areas, let's zoom in a little bit closer, and areas over towards, really just the coastline, especially from Sanford down through the coastline, Biddeford, Saco, areas like Kennebunk, Wells, York. You're going to want to keep an eye over the next hour, 2 hours, as we have this thunderstorm that is slowly moving on up to the north. And we can even track this storm out. So why don't we do that? Bear with me for just 1 second. And it's likely to take a track something like this. And so let's take a look at some of these time frames. I think, I think it's going to be a little longer than about 15 minutes for Portsmouth and an hour for Portland. To be honest with you, I'm not totally sold on those numbers. That's the first time I'm pulling those up. I think Portsmouth, 45 minutes. If you are in Sanford, if you're in Kennebunk, you're in York, probably an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. And if you're up towards the Portland area, it could take upwards of 2 hours to really reach you. And then again, I think after the Portland area, it should probably start to weaken just a little bit through the evening. But again, you're going to want to stay tuned to the forecast over the next couple hours through the evening hours. Charlie will have you updated on air. And we will continue to update you on these storms as we head through the evening hours. And just keep an eye to the sky. If you have plans this evening, and if you're in the southern areas, you're probably going to get hit with a thunderstorm. So maybe you wait until it passes. Otherwise, especially if you're up towards the north, I think you just got to keep an eye to the sky. Have a backup plan. If you are heading outside, maybe you can step inside for a little while if it starts to pour. But this will slowly move on up to the north as we head through the next several hours, and we will continue to update you. If anything happens, of course, we will step on here if we can. I'm actually doing a live shot this evening, and I think it should be okay. I'm hoping I don't get poured on, but doing a live shot this evening in the 5 o'clock, so hopefully you can join me for that. And, of course, we'll have the latest forecast as well. Hope you guys all have a good day. Stay safe, stay dry, and keep an eye to the sky. And that rhymed. Have a good one.